Real story. Here's your host, Jeanne Ives.
Okay, you know that music. That's the Watchdog music. And we've got one of the two Watchdogs here tonight with me. John Kraft, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining me tonight on this Sunday night. And by the way, callers, the phone number here, 312-642-5600. We should have a little bit of time at the end of the show to take your calls. But John, here we go again. I mean, why does it just seem so constant that there's always something happening in Shelby County?
Good question.
What's with that county? I don't get it. I mean, I know people there. They're good people, but man.
It just keeps going, like the little Energizer bunny that never runs out of power.
I mean, you could take all the cases from Shelby County, and actually, I sat down with somebody to do this. We sat down together when I was a state rep with the Watchdogs, and you basically said, hey, look, based off all the work that we've done, we need 10 bills that do this, that, and the other thing. And a lot of them came from, I think they were Shelby County bills, honestly.
Yeah, and, well, unfortunately, this one deals with the courts, and I think some of the issues we're talking about tonight in various parts of the state deal with the courts. This one deals with the current court filing by a resident against the Shelby County Board and the chairman for wanting to sell the county farm. They can't lease it without a public purpose that complies with the Constitution.
Right.
So they voted to sell it, and it's a simple majority that's required to sell it. But a resident filed a complaint to stop the sale and prohibit the county board from voting or opening a bids. And thanks to the new state's attorney, she just caved and acquiesced to the temporary restraining order, agreed with everything that his attorney said, and never even talked to the county board to see what they wanted to do. Just went in there and said, yeah, well, we'll take the restraining order. Don't worry about it. But this one, within the arguments, was the plaintiff's attorney was trying to keep the county board chairman's private attorney that he was paying for out of his own pocket from representing him in the court, by saying that, only the state's attorney can represent an elected county official. This is the same law firm that argued the opposite when he was being sued for representing the county when he wasn't appointed by the court or the state's attorney. He basically misrepresented that case to the court. He told the court that, the court's appointed me in that case. Well, no, that never happened. The affidavit that he had the former state attorney sign in that case, saying that she appointed him, conflicts with the county board minutes where the county board appointed him to represent the county in union negotiations. So it's good for him, not good for other people that go up against him. We believe there are false representations in the court, but
So is this lawyer like a big deal in Shelby County? He kind of gets his way. Is that the deal? He's just super connected, and so the courts are bowing to him. Is there a political bent on this? Are they politically aligned, the state's attorney and this lawyer, for example?
He typically does a lot of union negotiation representations.
They make money off of that one. That's good
with
work.
Local government.
Yes.
But the problems Shelby County is having with their union contracts is just unbelievable.
Wow.
How they can say that was proper representation to begin with, and even in that case, the appointed attorney from Jasper County, I believe, to represent the county board, just acquiesced to this guy's side of the story and said, yeah, the county board said, yeah, we need to pay you. So the judge ordered him to be paid. but that state's attorney had hired his own private counsel before the law authorized him to hire him.
So this is the same state's attorney, though, that you have spoke about before, and it appears that she wasn't really qualified for the position to begin with.
No, I don't think she is, and it's evident if you go into a courtroom and watch and listen, it's evident.
Yeah, so it's another one of those, be careful who you vote for. It's like DuPage County, where they put a lawyer who had no accounting background whatsoever. They put him in as the county auditor. And for 3.5 years, he failed to do state mandated audits for 3.5 years because he's a lawyer and he doesn't even know what he's doing. But, the Democrats, they don't care about competence. It doesn't matter to them. Competence is the last thing that they vote on. If you got a D after your name, you're going to be just fine with them.
And unfortunately, she's the only one on the ballot.
Of course. So there's nobody running against her because it's a small community. It takes a lot of effort to run a campaign, to raise the money even, just to do the work. And, so people get frustrated and they give up and they don't run when they should. Or they can make more money on the outside, and they rather do that than do public service. So, yeah.
Yeah, but you get what you vote for. It happens time and time again, especially, in Dalton and Thornton Township.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with another story that you have for us. Thanks a lot for joining us, John. We'll be right back. This is The Real Story with Jeanne Ives. Oh, my gosh, John. I just read your article about what we're going to talk about. I've had a busy show. And so I kind of leave it up to you guys to help me, muddle my way through these segments because I know you know your stuff. But Hutton Township, what a disaster. Oh, my. I mean, this story is hysterical. I mean, why aren't they just hiring you to be the lawyer so that you can keep everything straight? But you should go through this point by point because, folks, wake up. There's so much non-compliance with the law. It's not even funny, which is why good people have to get elected at the local level, and people just in general need to be paying attention to what the hell's happening. John, go ahead. Just give people the overview about what happened and then go into the specifics of everything you found wrong at one township meeting that you just happened to show up for.
Well, yeah, we showed up to this meeting
it's so bad.
with our cameras, of course, because we show up to meetings with cameras.
Yeah.
And we were told that this meeting was a lot better than any other meetings they've had in a long time. So we found that the agenda wasn't posted outside the building to let people know that there was actually going to have a meeting or what was on the meeting agenda. When we got there, the supervisor or the clerk, somebody told a resident that here's your copy of your FOIA request. It's 54 pages. You got to pay us 20 cents a page. And immediately we knew that was wrong because the first 50 pages are free and it's only 15 cents a page that they can charge. So they ended up not charging her anything.
But you had to step in. You saw what was going on and you stepped up and you said something to them right there on the spot.
Right there on the spot, and that was before the meeting started. Then they were talking about bids for a new township building, $180,000 a grant from ARPA. Well, donated.
Oh, yes, they're still giving out ARPA funds, folks. Still giving out ARPA funds. Yes, go ahead. Yeah. That's the American Rescue Plan.
$180,000 to the township to build a township building. They haven't had one in decades.
Okay.
So they were talking about bids, but
wait a minute. So COVID money's going to be used to build a township building?
Of course.
Yeah, that doesn't sound COVID related to me, but whatever. Go ahead.
Well, when they initially gave the money, there was all kinds of restrictions, and then when they figured out nobody could spend it, they just opened it up for basically anything.
Yeah, it's just total BS.
So they weren't really bidding the project out. They were soliciting,
quotes?
Piecemealed out, and even the quotes that they got weren't even matching. It's just some of them didn't have AC and heat or electric. Some of them didn't have concrete floor. I mean, it's just all over the place. But these guys are going to spend $180,000. I think we convinced them that they need to bid it out because it's federal money and it has to comply with federal law in order to spend it. And bidding is one of those requirements over a certain threshold.
So did you?
Then we found.
I mean, how did you find that out? They were talking about it. Did you interrupt in the meeting and correct them, or how did that work?
Kirk might have said something towards the end of the meeting or during I think he said something during public comment.
Okay.
And the reason we showed up was because we found out from attending a different meeting of a county. The Coles County highway engineer spoke at a meeting in Coles County about giving this township had a grant to pay for full replacement of the bridge, 100% no cost to the township. Township supervisor didn't really want it because he had property on that road, and if there's no bridge, it cuts down all the traffic.
You're kidding me.
No. So he claims it was because they would have to spend money to put rock and gravel to upkeep the road going to the bridge. Now it's been out so long they haven't upkept the road. But down here we're still in gravel roads and things like that. We don't pave everything like they do up where you guys live.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and in the meantime, a resident objected to the supervisor not wanting the bridge, but it's not really the supervisor's call. And he said something like, "We'll be glad when we can replace you." And the supervisor said, well, you can just replace me now. I'll resign after this meeting. And
You're kidding.
And then the clerk resigned right after him. They're related, him and the clerk.
He and the clerk are related, of course. Yeah, of course.
I think it's either his daughter or his daughter-in-law. I can't.
Oh my gosh, all in the family again.
But the county engineer is the one or the township road district is the party that can say yay or nay, along with the county engineer, on replacing the bridge. And the road commissioner wants the bridge, and it's going to be put in. So that's the short version of that story, or the long version.
Good grief. So this is Hutton Township in Coles County, folks.
Yeah,
and I mean, look, we're not, John and Kirk aren't picking on them. They just happen to get tips. And so they go and investigate and they find out all these things. They're charging too much for a FOIA pickup. They're violating the Open Meetings Act. They don't have their agenda posted the right way. And then they have this whole issue of not taking proper bids for wanting to spend $180,000 of COVID money. It's just, oh my gosh. You guys do such a good service to the Illinois folks. Thank you so much.
We try. Sometimes all we have to do is show up and they fix things.
It shouldn't have to be that way. It shouldn't.
I know.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot for joining me tonight. We will talk to you next week, and have a good rest of your night.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. And we'll be right back with the real story.